everyone, I am back. It is the 10th of December, Vlogmas day 10, and yes, we got back from Disneyland Paris yesterday. So needless to say, the last 24 hours have pretty much just been unpacking, doing laundry, straightening up, opening all of Henry's birthday presents because he was away for his birthday. And I have to say, I'm glad I took him to Disneyland for his first birthday. He really enjoyed it, and I know he's 1 year old. He will not remember this in 5, 6, 7, 8 years time, but I will. And it's more for those memories, I think, and I know that sounds almost selfish, but it's those memories of him having a really enjoyable time. He really loved it, from the rides to the lights to the, you know, the characters. He had a beautiful few days. So as you can imagine from where I left off, there isn't an awful lot to talk about in terms of sewing, which is predominantly why you're here, of course. But yeah, I thought I'd get back on the ball and get this rolling, or else I might drop off the face of the Vlogmas universe, and hopefully you'd miss me if I did. But we'll see, we'll see. So yeah, as I was saying, it was really, really magical, really beautiful. He loved it, and that's really all that matters. I've come back a little hoarse. I always do after I sit on a plane, even for a short trip. I just tend to be that way inclined, unfortunately. And now it's just like, fingers crossed we don't catch anything, you know, because everyone I know, particularly my staff at work, everyone who's been on holidays, has phoned in a couple of days later to say, I'm sorry, I have COVID, and I'm like, oh. So hopefully I don't fall into that trap. Touch wood, I have not had it as yet, and long may that continue. So yes, Sunday the 10th, tomorrow back at work, 1 week, and then I'm off on my holidays for 3 weeks. And to be honest, I could really do with not going into work this week, but such is life. It's necessary. There's stuff that needs to be done that can't be done by anybody else. So yeah, I'm just gonna have to lump it and get on with it, I'm afraid. But I've now come back like rejuvenated, just wanting to be festive and enjoy spending time with friends and family and making things and baking things, and that's just gonna have to be put on the back burner for the next 5 days, unfortunately. So I'll share with you a couple of pictures just so you can see a couple of the makes that I took with me that I was talking about on some of my recent videos. The Cinderella mice, the little Colette Moneta dress, did make an appearance. I'll pop the picture in here for you. The Needle Cord X Ralph Lauren deadstock fabric that I got from Fleurios also made an appearance. We had our matching outfits on one of the days. It's a really beautiful fabric. I made the Sew Over It Maisie dress. I have yet to get any pictures just of me wearing it to show you how it actually looks. But I think the pictures of Henry are much, much cuter. And just maybe while I'm at it, I'll roll through a few little images from the last few days, just to give you a taste of, you know, what we got up to while we were there. But yeah, a bit sad to be home. Now, while I was in the region of Paris, albeit not in Paris itself, because I thought with a 1 year old that's just a bit of a push, and I've seen everything in Paris that I really want to see. The only reason I go back to Paris is to revisit and to shop, so I didn't really go out of my way to do that. But what I did do while I was in the area was to make a visit to a museum that had just come up on my radar while I was looking in the general area, and it was the Great War Museum, the Musée de la Grande Guerre. And I think it's possibly one of the biggest collections of First World War artifacts I've ever seen. It was certainly a very moving exhibition, and I don't know, I found it a little overwhelming actually, just to see the scale of stuff that remains as a reminder of what happened. And you know, the battle was predominantly fought on French soil, and yeah, absolutely amazing exhibition. They also had a temporary exhibition about nurses in the war, and again I found it so poignant and so moving, and yeah, a little bit overwhelming. That's just the kind of feeling that you get in that museum. But one of the things I did want to just like share with you was that while I was searching through parts of the exhibitions, I came across a display which featured needlework. So there was a couple of needlework examples that had been completed by people who had been held in captivity, who had been captured. And I was a bit interested by this because it's not the kind of thing I would have imagined soldiers sitting doing, even in captivity. But it turns out that it was an incredibly popular thing for soldiers to do, particularly soldiers who were suffering from shell shock. So hand stitching, embroidery, those beautifully mindful acts were used to treat soldiers who returned from war. So not only was it something that preoccupied them while they were being held captive and helped them get through the hours and the days, it was also something that was used therapeutically to help the mind to heal. And I thought that was absolutely beautiful. And yeah, I mean, I personally love hand stitching, so I can appreciate the benefits. For me personally, I just would never have thought that those benefits could have been so profound or so useful on such a, I don't know, such a large scale, I suppose, when you think of how many people returned suffering with shell shock. But yeah, I'll pop a couple of the pictures in of these pieces, and yeah, I just thought that was worth sharing with you, because after all, I'm here to talk about sewing 90% of the time. But apart from that, there was one other stop that I did have to make, and I've been in Paris so many times and never was able to make this journey out. I probably could have, but I always found other things to do. And also this time we had a car with us, which I generally don't do if I'm in Paris, but because of Henry we thought it would just make life much easier. So we had a car, and I was able to head out of Paris to the home of Anais Nin, who is one of my favourite all-time writers, not so much for her erotic fiction or anything like that, but for her diaries. So if you don't know, she has left an entire collection which spans her entire life of diary entries, and I have read page after page after page. I have read them maybe 2-3 times, certain parts and certain volumes. And I could talk about her for hours. I'm not going to, because I have to go cook the dinner. Still hoarse. But yeah, it was really nice just to take that hour's drive out. Henry got a nap in the car, and you just visit that home. So I'll pop a couple of pictures in, and yeah, just one of those writers who was a formative influence on me, not only as a reader and as a writer, and it's more than that, it's more as a woman. And even if you just Google some of her quotations, you'll get a sense of who she is. She was very much about the interior life, about freedom, about expressing oneself, not only on the page, but also in your everyday life. And for me, I just always found her writing to be empowering, liberating, and absolutely inspirational. And she's definitely up there with like Margaret Atwood for female writers that I would love to have been able to sit and just converse with and learn and soak it all in. I just find the woman absolutely fascinating. And maybe it's a subject I'll revisit someday. I had already completed my PhD when I encountered her diaries for the first time, and I wish I'd come to them earlier, in my late teenage years, early 20s, because I know I could have written and written and written about her works and her life, but that wasn't to be. I just get to enjoy them instead, I guess. So one of the things I'm actually wearing in the pictures at her home, I'm wearing a beautiful red tartan dress that did not fit me obviously last year, and I've been able to revisit this year, but here we are in December and I am wearing a short sleeve dress because, to be honest, it was actually the coziest item of clothing I had with me because it had a wool content. I think I got it from Simply Fabrics, and it's lined, so it's double layered, and I just found it so cozy. So I was actually able to walk around the town a little bit in short sleeves in December. Incredible. Anyhow, that was my trip. That was like the short of my trip. So I didn't start any sewing or anything today. In fact, some family were over just to visit Henry for his birthday, and all I have done is pick out a couple of the next fabrics that I'm hoping to stitch up. I am going to make the dewy dress by Cashmerette. I'm just waiting for, well, not waiting for, I just have to order the PDF. It's a 9-page PDF, so I'm not going to be sitting sticking that together, you know. It's 9 pages, by the way, because Cashmerette have their multiple bust size options, but I think the skirt itself is like 4A0 pages, and that's what takes up a bulk of the pattern. But I have got that beautiful fabric that I had shared with you from Jenny Stitches just before I went away. So it's there, it's ready to go. And the other thing I have dug out, and I'm kind of regretting it. So this is a fabric that I got a couple of months back with the Minerva Brand Ambassador, if I could speak today, program. And it is this beautiful red satin. Now, can you see the creases that washed into it? I have been pressing and pressing and pressing, and I'm not getting a lovely smooth finish that I would like. So I don't know how much pressing it's going to take. I'm not for doing it tonight, but I am going to use this as the underlay and lining for a Casido Studio Lima dress, which is a dress I think I've made 5 times. I love every single variation that I have, but I'm going to use this with this tulle mesh with flocked hearts, which I got from Rainbow Fabrics Kilburn, and it's going to be the underlay to make the Lima dress. And I think it'll be nice. Both of them will gather really, really well, and as long as there's no massive fraying or too much slipperiness, hopefully that'll be a straightforward enough make, because I tried on my Lima dresses from previous and the fit is still bang on, so I don't need to do any toiling or any adjustments or anything like that. And then I've got this little fabric out as well, the Elmo and the Cookie Monster, which I think I got from Blooming Fabrics. And I'm going to stitch up a little pair of pajama bottoms for Henry's Christmas Eve box. I just need to pick out a pajama pattern for children. So if you've any recommendations for a pajama pattern for a 1-year-old, please hit me up. I would be interested to know what you recommend. So aside from that, there's not much to report. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks, I'll get a few days done at work. Won't have to worry about that anymore, and then I'll be able to take you with me hopefully as well, out and about a little bit, because that would be nice. I find, because I'm traveling quite heavily when you've got a baby, you know, you have a lot of stuff with you, so the camera is not really the thing that I've been thinking about whenever I started filming my Vlogmas videos, but we never know, we might be able to do something about that. Henry is very keen to help at every opportunity, so we'll see. Anyhow, that's it. So I'm going to go cook the dinner. There'll be no sewing tonight. Tomorrow I'll come back and chat to you after my long day at work. Moment of silence for my sanity, which really is going to suffer tomorrow, to be honest. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my tea for 2 seconds before I head downstairs to the mayhem of a little buzzy boy and 3 very happy dogs that are so glad that we are home. They have not been leaving my side. I've literally sneaked up and closed the door, and there's one of them lying just outside the door because he doesn't want me to go anywhere without him. But yeah, they stayed in a beautiful place. It's like a little dog hotel. You know, so they all have their little sofas to sleep on. They have a TV in their room. There's infrared heating in all of their lights. They get 6 outings a day. It's lovely, but I guess they're just so much happier to be at home with us, which is always reassuring. Anyhow, I'm going to sign off, and hopefully I'll be back, have a wee chat with you tomorrow and see where we are. So take care, and thanks for popping back and rejoining me on my Vlogmas this year.